What if a TV show offers you free breast implants if you stick around for the next 6 months? On camera, a boss might hand over a car or a big check.
All I do is give you an immediate raise.
Oh, God.
When he hears a single homeless mom is sleeping in hers. But that same boss might be outsourcing her job or never delivering the promised rewards if it sells empathy. But sometimes it might just be selling an act. This isn't The Apprentice, it's Undercover Boss, the Emmy-winning show. At first glance, Undercover Boss seemed like a nice and heartwarming idea. It first started in Britain in 2009, made by a man named Stephen Lambert. The idea was simple: big company bosses would wear disguises and work as normal workers so they could see what's really going on in their own businesses. When CBS brought the American version in 2010 and put it right after the Super Bowl, it became a huge hit. About 38.6 million people watched the first episode, the biggest audience for a new show since 1987. A few years later, the show even won Emmy Awards in 2012 and 2013 for being the best reality program. In those early seasons, every episode ended in a feel-good way. Bosses hugged workers, promised big changes, and gave a few lucky people huge gifts like cash, free education, and better jobs.
I don't think anybody should ever be homeless.
Yeah,
I want to see you succeed.
thank you.
I also got a chance to meet your daughter.
Yes.
All of it was shown with dramatic, emotional music, making it feel like business in America had suddenly grown a heart and wanted to care about its workers. But behind all the smiles, tears, and happy music, the show was not exactly what it looked like. A lot of it was set up for the cameras, and the big changes often didn't last after filming stopped. The show wanted people to feel good for an hour, but the real problems for most workers, low pay, long hours, and unfair treatment, stayed the same. Behind the tearful smiles and applause, however, lurked a very different show. In real life, Undercover Boss was planned and set up to make the most drama possible. The workers shown on the show are usually picked ahead of time. Often they are pretty new employees who wouldn't recognize their CEO anyway, and they are only told a fake reason, like that a film crew is making a documentary about entry-level work. The workers might know cameras are around, but they don't know the real idea of the show.
Boston Market, where the chief brand officer of Boston Market, Sarah Bidorf, went undercover. She worked with Ronnie, a supervisor at the fast.
Even the people who made the British version said the workers know cameras are on the way but do not know the real premise of the show. The boss's disguises, bad wigs, fake beards, huge glasses, probably wouldn't fool anyone in real life, but on TV, somehow they always do.
There was a time in January, I believe. It was the first time I've ever seen an overbooking situation.
What we see on TV is not random. It's cut and arranged in a very specific way. Every episode shows 3 or 4 workers who are easy to like, each with a touching personal story. Maybe a veteran with big medical bills, a single mom working many shifts, or a cleaner living in her car. The show makes sure to get every tear and every emotional moment, then shows the boss acting shocked when hearing their struggles for the first time. But this isn't an accident. A TV critic pointed out, there's no way the people were picked by chance. It feels like the producers did an exhaustive search in the company to find workers who were the perfect mix of charm, hard work.
Hi.
Do you know me?
Yes, Mr. Rick. Know you. I can see
Let
by
me get something straight.
Yeah,
First of all,
yeah.
you're gonna apologize to her.
And personal tragedy with just enough sadness to inspire. So the real life you see on Undercover Boss is actually carefully chosen, not random. Reviewers also said these big tearful giveaways don't match the real world. In normal life, bosses almost never hand out huge gifts to regular workers. One reviewer even called Undercover Boss some of the most blatant propaganda on American television, saying it tells workers to shut up and be grateful for whatever they get. These made-for-TV moments almost never happen in real workplaces, and, as some critics put it, are dramatic tricks instead of the norm. In the end, Undercover Boss was selling a nice-looking TV story, not real change. The cameras only showed a few workers, while the rest of the employees, sometimes hundreds, kept dealing with the same problems as before. One labor blogger pointed out that in most episodes only 3 workers get any big prize, and the rest of the company is exactly as broken as before. The whole setup was made to make CEOs look kind and caring, but only while the TV lights were on.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I can't say anything. Can I have a hug?
You kidding?
Oh my God.
Once the filming ended, nothing was guaranteed to change for anyone except the few lucky people who got featured. One real-life example shows how different the truth can be from what we see on TV. In early 2016, Sam Ducey, CEO of the discount store chain Shoppers World, went on Undercover Boss, undercover as Alex in Brooklyn, New York. On the episode, he met Nalini Singh, a longtime worker who had been with the company for 8 years and was struggling to take care of her family. Ducey praised her for her hard work and gave her a $15,000 bonus right there on camera. Then he made an even bigger promise. "I want to give you another $20,000 so you can have the big, beautiful wedding you deserve," he told her. Nalini was overjoyed and quickly started planning her special day, thinking her dream wedding was now possible. But once the cameras were gone, things took a turn. The company never sent that second $20,000. Later, a news station reported that Shoppers World asked Nalini for every single invoice from her wedding vendors, the hall, the cake, the dress, the photographer, and more, and then simply delayed paying again and again. Nalini said she gave them all the paperwork, but the payment never came. She told reporters she believed the promise was just for the cameras, not something they ever planned to keep. Even CBS, the network airing the show, gave a statement saying that while it couldn't directly comment on her case, it expects the companies to fulfill what they agreed to on the show, which quietly admitted that sometimes they don't. In the end, the TV episode gave Nalini joy, tears, and a dream in front of millions of viewers. But behind the scenes, the grand wedding gift never actually happened. What looked like a heartwarming moment to the audience ended up being a broken promise, leaving Nalini with disappointment instead of the celebration she had been promised. The real and honest image of Undercover Boss went completely off the rails in late 2014 with an episode about Bikini Sports Bar and Grill. After Undercover Boss, in that show, owner Doug Guller dressed up in disguise as Jake and worked alongside the staff. While filming, he became frustrated with one waitress named Jessica because she refused to wear the bikini top that was part of the restaurant's uniform for the cameras. Guller didn't just talk to her about it, he got angry and fired her right there on the spot, saying she had a lack of passion for the job. Undercover Boss fires girl for not wearing bikini. In the same episode, he praised another waitress named Grace, who openly joked that she'd love to have a full C-cup size. Instead of brushing it off, Guller smiled and told her that if she stayed at the company for 6 more months and proved herself as a model employee, he would arrange for her to get breast implants. When the episode aired, many viewers were shocked and disgusted. To them, it looked like pure exploitation, rewarding one woman with surgery for her body while punishing another for wanting to keep her modesty. Petitions popped up online, social media exploded with criticism, and people called the episode incredibly sexist. Even CBS seemed uncomfortable. They aired it quietly during a slow holiday period when fewer people would be watching. By the end of the show, Guller completely dropped any act of being a caring or inspiring boss. In his closing interview, he admitted that the entire thing was just for free publicity. "I just want to sell more burgers and more beers, and if I have to do that through stunts, so be it," he said with a shrug. His words made it clear it wasn't about helping people or building a better workplace. It was all about getting attention and making more money. Another episode of Undercover Boss looked warm and inspiring on TV, but quickly fell apart in real life. In early 2015, PV Electronics COO Cortland Gray went undercover at his company's audio equipment plant. The cameras showed him talking to employees, learning about their struggles, and making big promises. He told people like Theresa and Michael that the company would help them with loans, pay for tuition, and support their futures. He even convinced one man not to leave for another job, saying PV needed him. The episode ended in hugs, smiles, and tears, the kind of ending viewers expect from the show. But just 4 months later, the real story hit. PV announced they were shutting down the very same plant where all this took place. Every worker featured in that episode, the same ones who had cheered for Gray, lost their jobs. Suddenly, the boss who had talked so much about loyalty and education was the one laying them off. Theresa said she felt completely done wrong by the whole thing. The company scrambled to explain. Gray posted a statement blaming the way the show had been edited and claimed that his promises had still been honored behind the scenes. But the damage was already done. On TV, the finale had shown a happy ending full of hope, not a total shutdown. The Washington Post even reported that CBS quietly gave a warning before airing the episode, hinting that things didn't end like a fairy tale. For the workers and for viewers, it was another reminder. Undercover Boss could look caring on screen, but big business decisions like closing a plant happened away from the cameras, with no music, no hugs, and no last-minute miracles.
Today I'm going to be working with our Environmental Services Department, a refuse worker.
The Undercover Boss Act didn't just stay in the corporate world, even politics got in on it. In 2018, Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Peduto put on his undercover boss role for the cameras. On TV, he was shown handing out $155,000 in personal checks to city workers who were struggling. Viewers saw it as a heartwarming moment, like government at its most generous. It looked like a leader reaching into his own pocket to help people who needed it most. But behind the scenes, things weren't nearly that simple. Watchdogs quickly dug into where the money had actually come from, and the answer sparked outrage. A large part of the funds came from Visit Pittsburgh, the city's tourism agency, which is paid for with hotel taxes. In other words, this wasn't the mayor's personal generosity at all. Taxpayers had unknowingly been the ones footing the bill for these TV handouts. Once this came out, the whole episode turned into a legal and ethical mess. Undercover Boss fallout. Critics accused Peduto of using public money for a television stunt instead of real, lasting policy changes. Peduto pushed back, saying it wasn't a waste, calling it a 60-minute ad on primetime TV that promoted Pittsburgh to the world. But for many, that only proved the point. The segment wasn't about solving problems for workers or reforming city policy. It was about getting a feel-good moment for the cameras and boosting the city's image. What looked like generosity on screen was really just another PR play, dressed up as kindness. These scandals make one thing very clear. Undercover Boss was never about fixing big problems in workplaces. It was a TV show built to look nice and emotional, but in reality, it was a staged setup from the start. By focusing on just a few sad stories and a small handful of carefully picked workers, the show distracted viewers from the much bigger issues happening inside those companies. Most employees, the ones never shown on camera, didn't get raises, promotions, or any help at all. They went back to the same old pay, the same long hours, and the same struggles. One commentator summed it up bluntly. The CEO bribes a handful of suffering employees, gets some free advertising, and the meat grinder chugs on just like before. Workers on Reddit were just as harsh, saying the show showered a few specific people with gifts while leaving everyone else out in the cold. For years, audiences bought into the feel-good story, but by the late 2000s and 10s, the cracks started showing. More and more, Undercover Boss looked like a polished PR ad, not an honest reality program. When company press releases and social media posts revealed broken promises or even mass layoffs, it became obvious these executives were never truly shocked by their workers' struggles.
My truck is my baby. You know, I love it like religiously. If I would have a long hands, I could hug it. You will see, that's my baby.
They just had to pretend to care for the cameras, and once the lights went off, nothing really changed. Undercover Boss did show some real things. The grind of low-wage jobs, the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, and the huge gap between wealthy company leaders and the everyday employees who keep things moving. For a short time, these CEOs left their big offices, put on disguises, and sat in break rooms with the people who actually do the hard work. In those moments, it felt like they were truly seeing the reality of their own companies. But most of the time, the show wasn't about real change. It was about creating feel-good TV moments, big checks, hugs, and tearful thank yous, designed to make viewers emotional. So next time you see a CEO pretending to be a rookie worker, remember, it's still a TV performance. The real proof is in what leaders do when nobody's watching, when there's no camera crew waiting for a perfect emotional shot. Workers deserve fair pay, respect, and safe conditions every single day. not just when it's convenient for a reality show. Now, what about you? Was Undercover Boss a genuine act of kindness or just a carefully scripted trick to make big companies look good? Let us know in the comments. And if this video made you rethink the show, don't forget to like and subscribe for a good fortune.